Global Knowledge Manager for Creative and Media at Kantar. I've been assessing and analysing advertising for around 30 years now, and I've seen many changes during this time. I'm lucky enough to have access to Kantar's vast ad, media and brand level databases, and I've used these to analyse data and produce learning pieces on many of the issues that marketers face today. Databases to look at the specific characteristics and features of ads that perform well. For example, the most enjoyable ads, they more often contained music, and music was particularly prominent. They evoked emotions via their messaging, and many of them featured humour, some sort of humour, whether very funny or whether just light-hearted, but an element of humour was seen in them. However, we don't pretend in any way that a list of specific ingredients will always lead to a great or enjoyable ad. It's about how creatively and appropriately these characteristics are incorporated and whether they are actually fitting for the brand. There are, after all, ads with music that didn't do well on enjoyment. It's just that when looking at large numbers of ads, we see that music is significantly more apparent amongst the most enjoyable. And since 2019, we've also started collecting more detailed information specifically on the diversity, inclusivity, and the overall progressiveness of ads, so that we could factor in how consumers respond to these. For example, we noticed that the most enjoyable ads don't just include more characters of different ethnicities, they include them in the lead roles. And we also looked more deeply at gender in general and other measures of diversity, such as sexuality and disability. Encouragingly, that we are starting to see a real step forward in diversity and inclusion in the ad industry as a whole, as they take on board the fact that progressiveness not only benefits society in general, it also helps to build brands which will ultimately generate them more sales. And in terms of the creative process as a whole, the coming together of an early idea is a really exciting time, but it's also one that benefits from early stage testing, when the best ideas can be identified and progressed, rather than thinking of research as something that happens after the event, when an ad's already finished, and often by then it's far too expensive to actually make any amendments to it. So it's also important to identify a really diverse team from an early stage to encourage a truly inclusive process in the making of any ad. And finally, you asked which of the ads from the Reimagined workshop stood out the most. For me, I still remember feeling shocked at the one that used a baby to promote a sub-brand of cigarettes. It immediately highlighted for me just how far things have actually already moved on. However, I think my favourite reimagined ad was the one for Protein World, rethinking the key brand messaging away from just purely weight loss to one of a product that was also healthy and energising, and yet, and yes, in addition, it could still help you lose weight. But I think that was a really clever way to reposition the brand in a more current and progressive way altogether. The original idea promoted a product that appeared to be purely about weight loss, but more importantly, it was promoting the idea that going to the beach was just about showing off how thin you might look in a bikini. And that's really quite a sad reflection on society in general. I think moving the whole idea away from this to a brand promoting positive aspects of energy and health, this felt like a much stronger strategy all round. And the added group of diverse characters, that enormously broadens the target market straight away, which potentially will increase sales. So that is it from me. Thank you very much for letting me speak with you, and good luck with the whole exhibition. Thank you.